Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Let me just correct again, Dicky's introduction so far as the Intellectual Property Code is concerned. I was not involved at all in the drafting of the Intellectual Property Code for the simple reason that right now, actually, we're supporting the amendment, the Rojas Bill, so that we can include the public health flexibilities which are allowed anyway under the TRIPS agreement, and which under the Doha Declaration on TRIPS and Public Health, the WTO, the General Assembly said, every country should be able to incorporate these public health flexibilities, and which unfortunately our Intellectual Property Code did not include the 1998 Intellectual Property Code. So to a certain extent, I want to distance myself from that IPC.
My apologies.
That's right. But I'm involved very much in the biosafety regulations. I've worked closely with Secretary Alabastro with the DOST so far as ensuring the safe and responsible use of modern biotechnology. Now, having said that, I'd like to first thank the organizers, AFI and InfoDev. About 3 or 4 years ago, I think I was talking to Secretary Alabastro. We were having that usual informal discussions. And one of the things that she expressed at that time was that, we have a problem according to her, so there's so many researches which are ongoing, etc., but I have yet to see something that has been commercialized. That was about 3-4 years ago. And I suggested, Secretary, we should have somebody here really who should be looking at this in commercialization of whatever technologies that you have, instead of all these researches being just resume builders on the part of some scientists and researchers. And less than a year later, I think it was less than a year or 2 years later, Maui Arroyo came in and said, I have this hybrid type, etc. So he said, perfect, you're just in time. Now, let me just comment on the lecture of Maui and on the statements made by Secretary Alabastro. I would like to request for your indulgence if I go from one topic to another, hop from one topic to another, for the simple reason that these are random thoughts. Now, at the outset, let me just share with you where I'm coming from. Unilab is, of course, the leading pharmaceutical company in the Philippines. It's 100% Filipino-owned. I would say that it's the biggest or the second biggest national company in the region in Southeast Asia. It has plants in Thailand, in Indonesia, in Vietnam, and in China. The one in China is a biotech plant. It's called an affiliate company that is Shanghai United Biotechnology Corporation, which produces somatropin or human growth hormones, and it's now marketing also oral cholera vaccine. The human growth hormones now is about, I think they have a dominant position in the China market. I hope not because of the coming Beijing Olympics. So it's being sold also in countries like Egypt, Thailand, it's present here in the Philippines, etc. So biotechnology is very much in the radar screen of Unilab. Now, I was very happy to know that the government is putting much attention on education, and let me just share with you why. Because I find myself frequently in other parts of the world, and one of the countries which I frequently visit, I make it a point to visit at least twice or thrice a year, is India. And I've seen how India developed since 1999. When the first time I went there, I promised myself I would never go back. But after that, I found myself there twice or thrice a year. And every time I visit, the development is really very, very visible, and the optimism is very, very high. Now, one thing that you will see is that the development of the Indian pharma industry, notwithstanding all the brickbats that you hear about Indian pharma, the thing is, and I'll be the first one to say this because I visit all these facilities. Many of them are now US FDA accredited, some are EMA accredited, some are Australian TWG accredited. From simple backyards several decades back, they're now global, they're now world-class. So much so that I had a discussion with one of the Novartis guys yesterday, and he said, he's an Indian, he's being sent back to India to lead a 1,500 employee research R&D facility for Novartis. as you know, GlaxoSmithKline has entered into research partnerships also with Indian companies. So, and this is for what? For one generation. I mean, the first time that it all started when India, way back in the 70s when during the emergency rule, Indira Gandhi, unilaterally changed the patent law so that they didn't grant patents to products, but only to processes. So, and a lot of companies went out, so they were forced to come up with their own. Now, what's noticeable about Indian pharma, and I've met a lot of these, quite a number of these guys, is that many of the Indian pharmaceutical companies now were actually led by scientists. These are entrepreneurial scientists, and if you look at their origins, many of them will probably trace their origins from the National Chemical Laboratory of the Indian government. So it was some sort of a government agency looking at pharmaceuticals before, and then eventually most of them left. They formed Baxi, they formed all these companies, Dr. Reddy's, and later on what happened was that the chief R&D officers of these companies left also and formed their own companies, and they have companies like Hetero and all these other companies. So there is very much a combination of both the scientific and entrepreneurial spirit in many Indian companies, particularly in the pharmaceutical sector. And I hope that with this interaction, we can come up with a similar group here in the Philippines. Now,